Hello and welcome to Helping Other People Excel, or as you can see here, it's hope. We plan to bring hope into your lives, helping other people excel. We hope to bring hope into your lives because we all need hope. And I was talking with my good friend Gary Myers earlier, and he was talking about how we can live for so many days without food and how we can live so lesser days, 3 or 4 days without water. And yet we can only live a few minutes without air, but it's really hard to go on if you don't have any hope. And so we want to bring hope to you and to your homes today. My name is Jim Pate. I'm your host here, and we appreciate the fact that you've let us come into your home today, spend a little time with you this next half hour, and encourage you, and hopefully we'll all get some uplifting here through this. I'd like to thank my sponsors before I continue on. First of all, WCET Television here in Hudsonville, and we sure appreciate their fine work back in behind the scenes making this show possible. JB and Alan and the fine staff here all take good care of us, and they're fine, high quality, high definition digital equipment now, cameras and nice background screen and so on that you can see here. And they're proud of their new equipment, and we sure have appreciated and enjoyed using it. Certainly does make us look better. So we can use all the help we can get. But anyway, we appreciate the time we get to spend with you here. PamperMeNaturally.com is a wonderful little website where you can buy soaps and lotions, skincare, lip balms, essential oils, things like that to help you improve your skin and your health of your body, and put good stuff on your skin. If you look at the ingredients list of the Pamper Me Naturally products, it's all nice and short, and it's all words you can recognize and understand, whereas on some of the other soaps and lotions they have these foot-long words of ethyl, methyl, parable, oxide and stuff, and you don't want that. You don't want that on your skin. If you can't pronounce it, you probably don't want to touch it. So check out Pamper Me Naturally for their fine products, PamperMeNaturally.com. And if you get an order from them, mention that you heard about us on WCET TV, and I'm sure that they'd be happy to know that their sponsoring has been effective and that they're making progress there. So in addition to that, we have Perry's Place on 90 North Main in Cedar Springs, Michigan. And Perry has at least 100 different types of tea. He has teas, herbs, and so much more. Perry himself is lactose intolerant and also gluten-free, and for other people that have those kind of problems, he tries to carry a good line of products to help them still live a normal lifestyle and yet not have to suffer from the gluten issues and the lactose issues that so many people suffer from these days. So check out Perry's Place on 90 North Main. He also does massage work, and to let him know that you again heard about him on WCET and on our show. And I'm sure that he'll be glad to know that his sponsorship of our show has also been effective in helping bring in some business for him. So we appreciate all the help and all the sponsorships, and we certainly want to do what we can to promote them. So today I want to talk about, Orrin Woodward calls it the financial matrix. And Orrin Woodward is one of the top New York Times best-selling authors. He's got a book out called The Financial Matrix. I don't know how many of you have seen the actual Matrix movie. It came out, I believe, back in 1999, but it's really a good movie. It's full of a lot of action and adventure for those that like that kind of thing. But in addition to that, it's also carries a good storyline. And in this storyline, it talks about how people are actually living in this matrix where they have a fake life. Their life is projected into their brains by these machines that control them, and they actually just draw the energy off these individuals and as they lay in their little pods. And if you haven't seen the movie, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's, like I said, very action-packed, but again, there's a good storyline. But Orrin Woodward draws a comparison to them and says, we live today in a matrix not unlike the matrix of the movie, wherein our lives have been created for us. We live our lives vicariously through television, the shows that we watch at the end of the day, and all of the advertisements that tell us what we want to eat and what we want to buy and where we want to go and, you know, get this new car. And part of that is financing. And so many times there's advertisements for, you know, don't worry about money. You can have this nice new car today and just come on down and talk to us. And, you know, we finance anybody, and you can just make a small payment of a couple $100s a month, which, you know, you can afford. And we'll hook you up and get you a nice new car, or we'll get you a nice mortgage on your home or whatever. But what they don't tell you is that they are literally enslaving you, because you're now going to work for them, and you're not going to pay $10,000, $20,000 for your car. You're now going to pay double that over a period of time. But it's only, you know, $150 a month. It's okay. You know, you can afford that. And meanwhile, you can be driving this nice car. But these organizations are drawing wealth from you. They put TV in front of you to keep you entertained, and then you go to work every day and you work hard for real money, and then at the end of the month, at the end of the week, you have to pay that out in bills, and many of those bills are car payments and mortgages and student loans and other kinds of debt. You know, maybe it's medical bills for some people. I've got a good friend of mine who's paying a lot of medical bills. His wife had cancer, and now he's got this huge expense. And of course, they let him finance all of this, and of course, he was willing to finance all of it because he cares about his wife and he wanted to keep her here. But now he finds himself indentured or enslaved to this organization, and he has to make these payments. And, you know, years ago, and I don't have as much recollection of my grandparents as I'd like, but years ago, I know that my grandparents didn't do that. They didn't finance anything. They saved up their money and they bought. But you'll never see an ad like that today on television. You'll never see you know, you like this new car, it's a beautiful new car, and you look really good in it, and you want to have these fine features. And if you go home today and you save up all your money and do real good, in 2017 you come back and see us and we'll help you get this car. No, they don't say that. They want you to be financed. They want to finance you because it makes them way more money than the amount of money that was in the profit of that car. But as a result, at the end of the month, how many of you here have, at the end of the month or sometime during the month, have been worried or concerned about making your bills and paying your bills? How many of you, you know, have that sickening thing in your stomach because you know that, you know, this weekend house payments due, or the rent's due, or the mortgage is due, or the car payments due, and you're not sure where you're going to come up with that money, and you're scurrying around trying to think about what you can do to make a little extra money. Maybe you can put some overtime in at work, or maybe you can do a little side job for somebody over here and make that little extra money to help you come up with that payment. I know that many of us suffer from that. I know that I suffered from that for many years. And it is a sickening feeling in your stomach. It's a worry that you have. And, you know, when you're worried, your energies are all focused and wasted on how am I going to get this and how am I going to do that, instead of being able to focus your energies and your focus on maybe spending time with your family and enjoying your family, being with your kids, being with your wife, having a nice meal or something. You know, instead you're constantly worried, and maybe you're still with your children, but your mind is on other things. It's, you know, how am I going to meet this need, this financial problem that I've got, you know? Maybe it has to do with the end of the week, and you've got employees to pay if you're a small business owner. You know, maybe it's that. Maybe you are spending time with your family, but you're really not enjoying it. Maybe you're out on the boat for the weekend, and they're all out there swimming and having a good time and water skiing, and you're sitting there behind the wheel thinking about, man, how am I going to make the payment on this thing, and how am I going to come up with the mortgage payment? And, you know, there's that financial worry that grips so many of us in our world today. And that exactly is the financial matrix that Orrin Woodward's talking about. You know, we can't enjoy our lives because our energies are constantly being drawn off by these unseen forces that are behind the scenes, and that we don't realize that they're there and that they're at work in our lives. And consequently, also, they're putting these ads on TV and always in front of us, trying to market to us and say, you know, you can drive this nice new car, you can look successful and whatever. Well, you know, there's a huge difference between looking successful and actually being successful. And so many people look successful. They look the part. They've got a nice home in a beautiful gated neighborhood, or maybe not gated, but on a lake or something, and they drive a nice car. But boy, I'll tell you, they're just constantly stressed and worried about how am I going to make ends meet. And Orrin and his people have come up with a program. I know that many of you have probably heard of Dave Ramsey, and he's a great guy, and he's got a great financial program to help people get out of debt, and that's really good. And Orrin's program is similar to that. I think it goes a little bit further than what Dave does and gives you additional information and additional help to help you get out of debt and to, you know, be able to live a life that you can actually enjoy, where you don't have to constantly be stressing and worrying about the finances, you know. So if this is you, maybe you want to, you know, perk your ears up a little bit. You've heard me say these things and it rings a bell in your heart. You can go to my website, and JB will be kind enough to put it on the screen for you there. Or you can give me a call at this phone number, 616-799-0517, and maybe I can help get that into your hands somehow. 47 principles of good financial fitness, where, you know, it's the beginning of the year now. We're looking at January, and many of us, I'm sure, have probably made New Year's resolutions. Maybe part of the New Year's resolution was to get out of debt. Maybe part of the New Year's resolution was to go join a gym and lose some weight and get better fit. And our financial fitness program that's available to you is all about that. It's about helping you get your finances fit. It's about helping you exercise and get not your body fit, but your checkbook fit. You know, the statistics are startling about how the average debt is, how few people have actually even $500 in a savings account. And, you know, I think it was Warren Buffett that said that you can tell what your wealth is because if tomorrow you were to lose your primary source of income, how long could you exist on the money that you've got saved up and the buffer that you've got, you know? And if you've only got $500 in your account, that's probably not even going to get you through the month. But yet so few people have even 500 saved in their account. And, you know, we want to help change that. We want to help in giving you hope, in helping you excel. We want to show you these 47 principles that teach you how to think the way a wealthy person thinks, because Einstein said that you can't get out of the problems you're in using the same logic that you got into them with. You know, you've got to change the way you think. You've got to change that up and come up with some new plan and a new idea. And so these 47 principles are proven, founded principles that our forefathers used. Maybe your grandparents used some of these principles, or your great-grandparents, but they knew how to go out and buy property, buy a home, buy a car without going in debt. Many of them did. It's only been in the last few years that the advertising has been such that it's pulled us away from those founding principles, and now we're just accepting that, you know, everybody's in debt, so it's okay. That's how things are done. You know, you go in debt and you get the things you want and you live happily ever after. Except it doesn't exactly go that way, does it? I know that if you're like me, it doesn't go that way. I worried, I stressed. I worried every week. I had a small business, and I had to worry every week on where I was going to get the money for payroll. I had to scurry and run hard all week long and get out there and try and sell something else, or, you know, whatever we could do, get some service in or something to try and make sure that I had enough money that I'd be able to pay my employees. And, you know, people on the outside of the world, they looked and saw a nice building and some nice company trucks and a business name and a fancy sign, but they didn't understand or feel the stress that I dealt with every day, week in, week out, on that hamster wheel, caught in that financial matrix, as Orrin puts it, where I just couldn't quite get there. It didn't seem like I could run just quite hard enough. That's why I compare it to a hamster wheel. It seems like you get on that wheel and you run as fast as you can. I know you're probably laughing at me now. I laugh at myself. But yeah, you run as hard as you can on that wheel, and you know, the carrot's dangling out there, and, you know, if we could just get just that little bit more, if we could just do that. But try as we might, we just, you know, we put a little extra burst of energy in there and we run just a little bit faster, and all of a sudden the wheel spins a little bit faster, and we're still in the same spot we were yesterday. We're still running on that wheel. We can't get out of our situation, whether it's financial or otherwise. We can't get out of those bad situations with using the same logic that we use to get into them. So we've got to learn new principles. We've got to learn new ideas. And that's what's available in these 47 principles in the financial fitness program. And so I encourage you to look into that. Again, go to our website, and you can buy it right there online if you'd like. Our goal is not to make a lot of money at this. Our goal is to try and help you. And our program is a very good value, very low cost, and you'll be able to learn the principles to help get you out of debt and get you free from this financial matrix that's in. I believe there's a small little video there that talks about the financial matrix a little bit more, and that can be a big help to you. And boy, we sure want to help you with that, because I know how it feels. I was there. I struggled with that every day, every week, every month. I constantly worried about money and how I was going to get more and how I was going to get enough and how it was going to help. These people that worked for me, they depended on me. They were depending on me to pay their bills, because they needed that check at the end of the week to be able to pay the bills that they had coming in. And it was a heavy burden that I carried. And maybe you don't have a small business like I did. Maybe it's just your family. Maybe you're a small family and you only have you and your wife, or you and a wife and a kid or something. But there's still that burden that rests on your shoulders of, how am I going to meet this? How am I going to provide for them? And how can I get just a little bit more money? Where can I get some more overtime? Maybe even you're to a point where you're saying, what can I sell to make a little bit of money so that I can help get ahead and get a little further on this hamster wheel? The sad news is you're still on the hamster wheel, and until you get off, you'll never get there. That little bit of extra that you might manage to squeak out by doing the little side job, mowing the lawn for the neighbor, or doing some painting on the side or whatever, that money will get eaten up. I know just this week I had to buy brakes for my car. I wasn't expecting that, but all of a sudden one day I hit the brakes, and all of a sudden it's starting to grind and make that awful steel on steel noise, and I cringed and said, ooh man, I've got to do something about that. So it was a trip down to the auto parts store, and of course I'm going to do it myself. That'll save some money. And then when I got it all tore apart, should have been a 15-minute job per side, I could do the brakes. And I got in there, and the little pins were rusted tight in there, and I could not get them out. And I didn't have a torch, and because I'm doing it in my own garage instead of paying the money to go have a professional do it, somebody that's got the right tools. And so consequently, you do what you can to try and save that money and to eke that out, but it's never quite enough, because then something comes up. I know I just bought windshield wipers for my car. Went to Meijer and bought, I wanted good ones because it's winter and you depend on being able to see out the window. So I did buy a little bit better quality windshield wipers, but that and a few other things that I purchased at Meijer's came to almost $100, and I looked at that and said, wow, it's not even filling up my grocery bag, and there goes $100 that I really wasn't expecting to spend, So when you look at that kind of thing, you realize that, the hamster wheel is very real, because just putting in that little extra burst of energy doesn't get you any further ahead. It just seems like just makes you a little more tired, And, that's a sad thing. It's a sad thing to be caught in that matrix and not be able to get out. And so we want to share with you these 47 principles. Maybe they can be of some assistance to you in some way to help you pay off debt. And, we've got great testimonials from many people who have paid off $10,000 here, or a student loan for $4,000, or a car for $15,000, or maybe a mortgage for $50,000. And there's all kinds of people that have benefited from these 47 proven principles to help you get out of debt, So check that out. Take a minute and go to the website and take a look. And if there's anything else I can help you with, I certainly would be happy to do that. But boy, I sure know the feeling of being caught on that hamster wheel or caught in that financial matrix. And we really want to help you be able to get out of that. It's tough enough in the world. I can't remember now who it was that said, life is tough, but it's even tougher when you're, I don't think he said uneducated, but, he might have said stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying that, when you don't have the right information, it's so much tougher life is hard enough as it is. But you know, so oftentimes I know I took advice from my dad. You know, my dad was a factory worker. He worked at Steelcase for years, and you know, he taught me the best he knew. He taught me his financial principles. He didn't have 47 financial principles. He had a few. And you know, I much to his credit, one of them was don't go in debt. He paid cash for everything, but consequently he lived a meager life because he didn't have some of the other principles that helped you. Rather than working for money, you have money work for you. And you know, some of these things are so important, and he just lacked those. He taught me what he could, but he couldn't teach me what he didn't know. And so I constantly was taking financial information or financial guidance, if you would, from my broke dad. Robert Kiyosaki talks in his book, Cash Flow Quadrant. He also talks about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, another one of his books. He talks about his rich dad and his poor dad, and how if he took financial guidance from his poor dad, how he'd probably still be poor and broke today. But now he took financial guidance instead from his rich dad, who happened to be actually a friend of his, one of his childhood friends. It was his dad, and he hung around a lot over there, spent a lot of time at their house, went out on the boat with them, and got to see that they lived differently than he did with his poor dad. His poor dad worked all the time and had no time to spend with his family. Rich dad spent a lot of time with his family and occasionally went to work. And so he kind of had an opportunity, a unique opportunity that many of us don't have, to make a comparison to both sides and see why they were so different. And his poor dad just lacked information that his rich dad had. And fortunately for him, he learned a lot of these things from his rich dad and was able to apply them in his own life. And today is a multimillionaire because of it, you know. And so that's the kind of thing that we want to share with you. We want to teach you. And of course, it doesn't behoove the bankers who are getting interest from you every month, who are getting that monthly payment on your car or your house. It doesn't behoove them to tell you about these principles, because then they wouldn't make this extra money that you're sending them all the time. They have you a servant or a slave, actually, to them. And you work all month long. You work really hard in order to be able to pay the bills for the meager little things that you have, and you really have no time to enjoy them. If we understood these principles, we could have both time and money, but because we don't, we find ourselves lacking in either one or the other, or oftentimes both. You know, we don't have enough money or time because we're trading our time, our precious time that we have only so limited amount of. We're trading that for money, and not nearly enough. So, you know, many of us right now, the lottery is up to, I don't know, 1.6 billion, maybe 1.7 billion dollars. People are going out there and they're spending their hard-earned cash buying these tickets. And I was at a party store the other day, and somebody mentioned that, I don't know how true this is, but they mentioned that right now in Michigan, over 150,000 tickets are being sold of lottery tickets just in Michigan for this new Powerball thing, because the jackpot's so big, and people are going out there and they're spending what little bit of hard-earned money they've got. They're spending on a hope, but it's a false hope, because everyone that buys another ticket, that means your odds are that much smaller that you're going to win. Sure, somebody's going to win sooner or later, and when they win, they're going to win big. But it's probably not going to be you. And that's sad, because you're going to go spend this money that you really can't afford, but you squeezed it out of somewhere. You know, Ben Franklin said the best investment is investing in yourself. If you would take that money and you go out and learn, purchase a financial fitness program where you could learn, like Dave Ramsey's or like what Orrin Woodward is offering, you could learn good things on how to manage your money. You could eventually get out of debt, and you could eventually have money, and you could eventually live the life that you've always wanted and have always dreamed of. But then the bankers wouldn't make a lot of money off you, and neither would the lottery people who are, you know, funding this lottery. $1.76 billion. Where does that money come from? It comes from people like you who are buying a ticket or buying 10 tickets. You've got a way better chance of improving your future by learning some principles, investing in your mind and in yourself. Your odds are better that you'll make money and you'll become successful and wealthy than they are by winning that your chance of winning that Powerball ticket. Every time another ticket's bought, it reduces your odds by that much. You know, and I can't tell you what the odds are. I don't play. I don't have that all figured out, but I know that they're not good. You got a better chance, I think, of being hit twice by lightning in the same spot or in a different spot. You've got a better chance of being hit by lightning. Now, how many of us have been hit by lightning? Can we get a show of hands there? Any of you guys out there been hit by lightning? You know anybody that's been hit by lightning, JB? I don't either. I don't know a single person that's been hit by lightning, much less somebody that's been hit by lightning twice. And yet our odds of winning the Powerball are, you're more likely to get hit by lightning twice than you are to win that Powerball ticket. And, you know, I just feel sad when I see people go and I was at the party store and this guy says, yeah, give me 5 of those Powerball tickets. Okay, it's $5. But it's $5 that he took out of his budget, that he took out of his, maybe his money that he was going to pay his mortgage with or his car payment with, because he's stressed about that all the time. And if I could just win this Powerball, I wouldn't have to worry about that no more. And yet, story after story after story, time after time, we hear about people who won a lottery, $1 million, $2 million, $7 million, however many. And 5 years later, they're broke. And they're worse off 5 years later than they were before, because now, because they had so much money, they were talked into going in debt and buying a big house and so on. And so now not only are they broke again, all that money's gone, but they also have a lot of debt. And so now they're worse off than they were before they won the lottery. And so I look at that and I see that, and you know, it's gambling of any kind that is like that. It doesn't matter if you go to the casino or if you buy Powerball. The odds of you winning are not very good. Sure, some people do. But we all go and play those games with the hope of somehow getting off the hamster wheel. We've got 47 proven techniques, proven principles, that if you follow them, you will get off the hamster wheel. You'll pay off your debt. You'll have that money. How many of you, it would make a huge difference in your life if just you didn't have to pay the bills at the end of the month? What if all you had to do was pay your electric bill and your phone bill? You didn't have to worry about the mortgage and the car payment and so on. How would that change your life? You'd have an extra $500 a month, maybe an extra $800 a month. What could you do with that money if you could just pay off those bills and get out of debt? But they know that by keeping you hooked on your car payment, on your house payment, on that new furniture, whatever, that, you know, you're going to end up a slave to them. And we want to help you with that. Our time is running out now, and we're coming to the end of our hour, but I just wanted to thank you for letting us spend this time with you. Hopefully that something we said has been an encouragement to you and has touched you in your heart and rang a bell maybe with you and said, you know what, that makes sense. I want that. If you want that, feel free, go to our website. JB will put it on the screen. If something you've said has gotten your attention, something I've said, and you want to talk more about it, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is 616-799-0517, or you can email me at jim.pate, that's P-A-T-E, at gmail.com. You can email me, and JB again will put that on the screen. Email me and let me know that you know, something I've said made sense to you, it clicked with you, and maybe you want more information. Maybe you want to discuss it with me a little bit. I'd be very happy to do that with you. But do let me know if we've been a blessing in your heart and in your life today. And have a good week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time on Hope, Helping Other People Excel.
Hi, I'm Larry Treese from Healthcare Associates and Community Caregivers. Just like in sports, when it comes to home health care, you need a good team. We offer private duty nursing, Medicare services, and therapies. We're a part of the community too. We want to be there for you. Give us a call. Home health care at its best, 531-9973.